Welcome to Behind the Smoke Podcast, Barbecue War Stories. My name is Sean Walchef with Cali Comfort Barbecue. We are recording above the butcher shop with my man Derek Marceau from Valley Farm Market. What's going down, Derek?
Not much, just running around like a chicken, but everything's good. Happy I got here. Sorry for making us be a little late today, but I had the times mixed up, which happens, and just happy that we could actually make it happen 45 minutes later than what we wanted to.
Yeah, today's episode is very special for us. Podcasting is something that's just been really cool because it's allowed us to develop relationships with people, but also connect with people on a deeper level and bring their story to our listeners so that hopefully they can learn. And one of the things that people that listen to the podcast have reached out the most is they want to start a catering company or they want to improve their catering operations. And having grown up in San Diego and having watched what happens in business, a name that kept popping up was Picnic People. And Picnic People, they are a 34-year-old company that is just always done incredible things, always made very impressive moves. And we were so fortunate to meet the CEO and founder at Fort Worth, actually, National Barbecue Association. We were down there and she came up and introduced herself to me. Lisa Richards, welcome. Thank you for coming on Behind the Smoke.
Thank you, guys. I'm just really happy to be here. This is a cool studio.
Yeah, it's different. You know, I've been to a few different studios, and I can say that this is probably a little different than most. And I would like to say that I think Sean and I are probably a little bit different than most. It suits us fairly well.
Well, I'm happy to be here.
So first of all, let's talk about, because we had lunch together at Urban Solace, and I got to meet your business partner in that project, which is Chef Matt Gordon, another person that I've admired from afar. Incredible restaurant, absolutely immaculate inside. The food was spectacular, but we talked about continuing education and about the conference, specifically National Barbecue Association, and why it was important for you to be at that conference. Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, when I first understood the difference between grilling and smoking, which was probably 20-something years ago, I went to my first NBBQ meeting, and it was in Fort Worth. And I met a gentleman named Wiley McCrae, and I just fell in love with the whole idea of barbecue. And I learned everything. I thought I knew everything in 3 days, you know.
Sure.
That's the beauty of good education. And then I took a few years off and went to some other types of trade shows and things and realized that the MBBQ not only was the tips and handy hints and do it this way or don't do it this way, but it was the camaraderie and the people that are so passionate and so focused on barbecue that I come back not only more smarter, but I come back totally motivated to try something new.
Sure.
So I won't miss a year.
Well, let's go to the origin story. How did you start Picnic People? How do you start a catering business? How did that idea?
I didn't start as a caterer, actually. It's a good question, Sean. I started because you want the whole...
Yeah, we want the
Don't you hold back.
Stuff, yeah.
I want to hear it all.
Okay, guys.
We want the shitty stuff, too.
This is well, what I did was pretty primitive. My parents, actually, I was in school at the University of San Diego, up on the hill, nice, little Catholic school.
Sure, USD is beautiful.
It is beautiful,
and
it was just lovely. And I was pretty bored and have a little bit of a attention issue, and so
Don't we all?
Do you?
Yeah.
I think it kind of goes with our territory, our food and attention deficit. So I took my summer school money. I was supposed to be taking botany and anatomy, and I went and bought a sailboat. And I bought a cute little red sailboat, attached it on the back of my green Volkswagen Rabbit.
Nice.
And I went and taught myself how to sail on Mission Bay.
Wow.
Had no idea what I was doing.
Just go around Fiesta Island, hang out?
Yeah, hanging out Fiesta Island. And I would look around on the grass and I would see these people planning picnics. And I was fascinated because I grew up in Phoenix, Arizona. A picnic to us was we would go out to the mountains and under a covered shelter. And the only barbecue I went to growing up was the Kiwanis barbecue. It's a national treasure event. So I watched these people pull out their coolers and their Weber barbecues out of their trunks of their car, and I'd pull the boat up and I just would watch, and it was so fascinating. So I started, not shy, I went up and started saying, "What are you doing?" And these sweaty people would say, "We're having our company picnic. We have a company picnic here every year." I said, "Well, how much fun?" So I watched, and families came, and everybody's doing their potluck thing, and it's happening. And then they started activities for the kids, and nobody looked very happy.
Right.
Like, God, they're working really hard. And these are the days when there was FedMart, well, probably before you were born, but the precursor to Price Club.
Right.
So literally, they just had FedMart bags everywhere. And so I thought, I can do this. I can do this. How hard is this? This can't be hard. So I continued to disobey my parents, and eventually they found out when they didn't get a whatever you get in the mail from school saying your daughter passed summer school, because that didn't happen.
Right.
They get a picture of your sailboat.
Yeah, they did. I got in big trouble, and my father, God bless him, I just adore him, my business mentor, said, "We're done. We're done. You don't get another dime. You got to figure out how to do this. Bye-bye." Nicest thing he ever did. So I had odd jobs, worked at Sears Tuxedo Rentals and some other strange things. I was the world's worst waitress for about 2 months. And I thought, I'm going to do this picnic thing. So I went down to the Chamber of Commerce and I bought their directory. And all these companies are listed. And I thought, okay, I'll just start calling and see what happens. So I made the phone call, and I happened to call Cole Construction Company, my very first phone call. Cole, Koll, well-known, respected company in San Diego in the 80s. This was actually 1978. And I got a woman on the phone. Her name is Brenda Zielinski. Her name is like embossed on my forehead. And she said, "If you can get here in an hour and a half, 2 hours, you can do our picnic." I said, "Okay." So
Really?
I went over there. I had never made a sales call on anybody.
Wow.
I had no idea what I was doing, but boy, can I explain an experience.
Mm-hmm.
So I had her so excited that she didn't have to go to FedMart, that she didn't have to bring her grill, that her husband wasn't going to have to play, hula hoop games with the kids.
Sure.
That this was going to be a done deal. So I left, and I didn't ask for money, and I didn't have a contract. I didn't have a business card. But I went down to Love's Barbecue Pit in Mission Valley, and Love's was in an old Wiener Schnitzel building. And I went in and I said, I need to have a party. And essentially I was the client. And I said, I've got 100 people. And I ordered the food. And I said, I'll come back on Saturday and pick it up. And they said, okay. And they didn't ask for money. They didn't ask for anything. So I put it all together that week. I got my roommates to come, and I bought beer illegally when I think about it. God, it was just, I don't think I did much right. No health department permits. I mean, we could go down the list of stuff I didn't do.
But you figured it out.
I did figure it out.
I
did.
That's part of the whole deal, is just having the courage to know that this is what you want to do in your heart, and then knowing that you're just going to figure it out.
Derek, I have no fear, and probably not a lot of intelligence at that part of my life. I was 20, and I ended up throwing a great picnic for Cole Construction. They came back for 3 years in a row, and then on that third year, I had other clients too. I was pulling in, $120,000 a year.
Wow.
I didn't even know I was supposed to be paying taxes.
Right. You're making profit? How'd you do your profit there? I mean, you just said, okay, here's my expenses.
Here's my expenses. Here's my profit.
Yeah.
Pretty simple, right? It's math.
And they were fine with it?
Numbers don't lie. Yeah.
They didn't bark at it at
all.
all?
No, what I did is once I figured out what things cost, and I estimated high, and I figured, okay, I need to make 25% profit.
Right.
So I took my cost and I marked them up, and I thought, I can make a little more. So I put a little bit more on it and everybody squealed. And I thought, okay, I've got some room. Mm-hmm. Let's see what I can add as far as value goes and as far as expanding the experience. Mm-hmm. So I hired clowns, and then I learned how to run a real horseshoe tournament, and then I kept educating myself, and my roommates were like, my wing girls back here were doing this together, and it just grew. It grew, and I never had to go back and borrow a dime from my dad, but I did promise him I would finish college.
Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't quite gone back yet. And he passed away this year, and I just don't think he's going to care anymore.
Yeah.
So I think I'm through that gauntlet.
Now, so with the growth, obviously you had to form an entity then when you were getting big enough. You formed your entity and created staff. What were some of the biggest hurdles you had to go through? Because, I mean, for us, I just know going through our caterings and our events that we do, growth is, such a great thing, but it could really bite you in the ass if you're not doing things right.
Right.
So getting the right people out
I did
there.
everything wrong, really everything wrong, Derek. And then I met this lovely man. His name is Rick Richards, my husband of 38 years. And he said, if you're going to do this right, you've got to do this right.
Right.
We've got to go get licenses. You've got to do all this. And no, I was not cooking. I was subcontracting my food.
Sure.
And I'm working out of my house. And I've got 2 small boys. And he's a very smart man. He was a good business owner. And he was 11 years older than me. So I thought he was the wisest man on the earth.
Sure.
And he was for a while, until I fired him like 22 years later. But, yeah, you two don't know what that's like yet.
No.
But we're still married.
Well, that's good.
So
Save the marriage.
the growth came from realizing that I couldn't do it on myself and that my family was very important and those little people needed time. And I knew exactly what I wanted, which was to not be in an office, but to be out of the office, promoting this idea of picnic people, which is an experience. It's not just the catering. It's not just the brisket. It's not the hot dog. And it's not the clown or the moon mounts or whatever else. It's the experience that our guests are going to take away and how easy we make it for our clients. So I decided I didn't want to be the in-house girl, and I hired a secretary to do that. And then it just naturally started to grow. And I built a very strong office staff so I could be out doing what I do best.
Right.
So when it came to putting structure to it, we structured our business. And I say we, my husband, after being in business for 3 years on my own, I was, grossing a little over $400,000 a year working out of the house. And he left his job. He had a real job that he quit to go into the barbecue business. So we structured it like a major corporation. We had a human resource and staffing department, which recruited, hired, trained, staffed, fired everybody that worked for us. And it's the hardest job in the whole company.
Sure.
That and dishwashing. But it is a really important step for us to recruit the right people and then train them and then keep them. Retention is huge.
Sure. So at that point, you were basically just a general contractor. You had your subcontractors with the food, you're implementing it in, getting different people to come in, the clowns, all that stuff. At what point did you take on more of the food?
Well, what I decided to do was that I'm a control freak.
Sure.
And that I wanted to own everything. I wanted to own those clowns. So I started a clown school in my company.
Okay.
And then I wanted to have employees. I didn't want to have subcontractors. I wanted to have accountability. I wanted to know those people. I wanted them to be part of our picnic culture, picnic family. So I hired employees. No more subcontractors. I bought moon bounces. We built beverage stands. We got a liquor license. And I just brought every single thing in-house.
Right.
And then...
Was that like year 5?
Year 5.
Year 5?
Year 5.
Okay.
And I was subcontract. I left Love's Barbecue Pit after like the first year.
Okay.
And I had a great catering partner who'd been in the business for years before. And I was really a grilling company. I did burgers, dogs, and chicken. For years. That's what people wanted. And I was paying this other caterer $1 million a year.
Right.
And my husband said, there's really good margin in that hot dog.
Yes.
We got to learn how to be caterers.
Right.
So that was very intriguing to me. And I looked around, talked to a lot of people, and I found Michael Roman, who was at that point the emerging guru of off-premise catering. He formed Catersource, and he passed away 3 years ago, which was a huge loss to the industry and to me personally. But I hired him only to find out that I was his first client.
Oh, wow.
He did the best thing telling me how he was a consultant and he'd build all these businesses. It was
just like
all
how you went
a lie.
to Cole, right? Or whatever, that same thing, yeah.
Yeah. And then I thought, okay, I had to love him because he's just doing the same thing I'm doing.
Right.
So he came in, and Derek, he had been around to enough catering companies that he knew what good practices were, what best practices were. And he hired our first general manager, who we brought in from Cincinnati. And we started a catering company. And he said to me, Michael said to me on my opening day, he said, it's going to take you 7 years to turn you into a caterer. And it was 7 years to the day to learn how to run a kitchen. And we started in a 900 square foot kitchen and eventually grew to a 6,000 square foot kitchen over the years. I mean, the growth was exponential really fast, and then really slow for a while, and then hurtled, from 125,000 almost 10 million at the height.
What type of venues are you guys doing? I mean, who are your biggest clients? Who do you guys go after? What is your business model? Like, what are you guys trying to do?
We are a primarily corporate event hospitality catering company.
Okay.
Our clients are those who have responsibility for entertaining and morale in their company. Sometimes it's human resources, sometimes it's marketing.
Sure.
It's somebody has been tapped that they have to do that.
Mm-hmm.
We very narrowly niched ourselves in the picnic business. I only wanted to be in the picnic business, and it was great because I had some seasonality to it. And
San Diego's a good place to do picnics too.
One of the best. The furthest story way down the line is they franchised across the country.
Cool.
And got into 11 different markets and found out that San Diego was by far the best place to be able to do this.
Right.
So, going back to your question of what was your question?
What's your business model? Who are you going after? And what?
Okay, yeah. So I'm going after San Diego corporate clients. And at that point, our biggest competitors were the zoo and SeaWorld. Because we didn't have a Shamu and we didn't have a cool elephant.
Right.
But we promote a family event. You come to a Picnic People event and you are together all day. You're playing and you're breaking bread together and you're having a beer if that's what's required, and playing volleyball and being together.
Now, this is a location, or you can pick anywhere you want?
I go everywhere.
Okay.
I go from Yuma to the beach into Orange County a little bit.
People's
down to
houses?
the border, people's houses, people's cul-de-sacs.
Tailgates.
Big tailgates. Spend a lot of time at the stadium, kind of worried about what they're going to do with the old Q parking lot.
Yeah, we're going to find out about that.
I guess.
Well, Alliance
days.
The Fleet football team.
Yeah,
the
Fleet
Alliance
football team.
They're supposed to be using it. So.
But we also have Landon Donovan. We're going to have him on the podcast to talk about Soccer City coming up.
Ooh.
So that should be interesting.
That'll be a good one. So we're in the mobile, off-premise catering business, meaning I take my food, my kitchen, my staff, and I can go anywhere and throw a party. So they're not coming to me, I'm going to them. Mm-hmm. And like you said, I can do it in somebody's backyard.
Sure.
From the corporate business, I then started doing more social business, even picnic weddings or picnic rehearsal dinners. And then team buildings. People were calling us and saying, we want a barbecue on a Wednesday, and it's all adults. One of my biggest events was 15,000 people, single sailors.
Oof.
All single sailors.
15,000 single sailors?
Sailors.
Where was that? What venue?
On Coronado. We actually stayed on Coronado. They didn't want those guys getting off. And that was the point in the military where you could still drink.
Yeah.
So they were drinking 3-2 beer and having a hoop-de-doo time, and it had to be clean entertainment. We had Miss California.
How many staff did you have for 15,000 people?
Oh, I think about 250 people worked that party.
Wow.
That party. It was
you're saying
major.
We were understaffed when we did our 6,000 people and had 12 people trying to do it?
You did what? You did 6,000 people with 12
I don't know how many
people?
we ended up doing.
We didn't have more than 15 for sure.
Yeah.
Derek and I were on the line for pretty much the entire event.
That's another segment.
That's another story. Hey,
That's a barbecue war story.
I can show you how to do that.
Yeah.
I can tell you how many people. I've got 5,000 people coming up at the end of the month, and I have 120 people on it.
Wow.
So
we were understaffed.
Yeah.
So
only by 80%.
Right.
So when did you decide that you needed your own facility and your own kitchen?
3 years in,
3 years in.
we decided that. Well, actually, 5 years in from the start was when we hired Michael and built our first kitchen. He built I didn't know what a tilting skillet was, and I wanted a smoker, so I bought this little upright smoker. I thought I could do something with it. A little cook shack. It was the greatest thing, but it had no volume. Couldn't do anything out of it. So I turned it into a cold smoker, and we did that. And then we grew to we were at 3 million, and when you get to 3 million mark, a lot of businesses have to decide if they're going to get big or hold.
Sure.
So we decided we were going to take that next step and get to that 7 million mark, and we bought a piece of land and built a 30,000 square foot custom catering facility that was unbelievable.
Where's that at?
It's right off of Camino Ruiz and Miramar Road. And what happened was we being my husband and I went around the country. Michael Roman said, go see these people in Florida. So Derek, we took off, went to Florida, and saw electricity hanging from the roof. I never thought about how easy it was to have electricity coming down instead of plugging into a wall.
Right.
And took all of this back, and it took us about 18 months to design it. Deep loading docks, great refrigeration space.
How many places? So you went on other site visits. How did
Yes.
you make those connections?
Through MBBQ, I knew some of those people.
Really?
Yeah. And then through Michael Roman, I knew some of those people. And CaterSource, which is the association for...
And the conference as well, right, in Vegas for caterers.
Right. And ICA, ICA is the Catering Association, International Catering Association. I have a lot of friends through that. And, caterers, you open your arm. Chefs want you in your kitchen.
Sure.
Well, I think that's an important point that a lot of people overlook is that there are resources, but you have to be willing to ask. The more that we ask people at NBBQA when we go out there or we talk to other restaurant owners, if you ask the question, chances are, we're not hiding anything. If someone asks Derek about, what's going on in the butcher shop, he's more than willing to help educate. And that's what Gene did for us at Cali Comfort. So you have to be willing to ask.
That's the joy
Yeah.
of sharing that knowledge.
It's the curiosity.
I didn't invent the hot dog, but I can tell somebody how to grill thousands of them if
Sure.
they need it. Mm-hmm. I love that sharing. I love it. And that's how we got good at what we did, by learning from other people. I didn't finish college, didn't take any accounting classes, had to learn a lot of things, and I learned it by great mentors,
Right.
by great chefs, incredible employees that came in and taught me how to treat people. And
Okay,
how
so
to do
now,
right.
what if I were to say, okay, Lisa, I got an event coming up, and I'm going to have about 100 people at my house. Is that something you do? What's your minimum? And then how do you come up with a menu? Do you just have your menu mapped out? I can pick from anything. How do you know how much to serve people? A lot of these, I know we have our own algorithm that we use, but we're getting a lot of questions from our listeners that want us to kind of dive into this a little bit. So I think it's something that we would.
So Derek, so I said, what's your minimum? And then how to menus and then quantities?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So our minimums are based on, don't have anything to do with the number of people, really.
Okay.
Our minimum is $5,000 on a Saturday and $3,500 on a weekday.
Okay.
So I'll be happy to come and feed the two of you a delicious lunch for $3,500 on a Wednesday.
Game on. Yeah.
I started out our business being a griller. So my menus were primarily based on grilling. And I'm a charcoal wood gal, no gas for me. And I built menus. I have 13 menus that can interchange based on what people need.
What?
And certainly have evolved over the changing dietary likes, dislikes. I still having trouble with gluten-free buns, though. Those
Right,
things
it's hard.
It's hard, man.
Yeah. Literally. They're like hard.
They're very hard.
But if you're missing a Frisbee, you know where you can get a
Right,
substitute.
true.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that'd be a fun game, wouldn't it? Like knock something down with a gluten-free bun.
Gluten-free bun.
Yeah.
All my empty beer cans.
That could be a new carnival booth game for me.
Yeah.
So we have menus. It doesn't limit me.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't limit the kitchen. Some people give us recipes and say, my grandmother made this potato salad. I try not to do that.
Sure.
It will never be as good as grandma's potato salad.
Right.
I stay away from things I don't do well. I'm not a Mexican food caterer. I'm not an Italian caterer. I'm a
I think
barbecue queen.
That's really important. If just because you can do it doesn't mean you should do it.
Exactly.
We learned that in the restaurant. We had a menu that was all over the place just because we thought that, maybe we should have that because people have asked for it. Once we focused on what we do best, it was a game changer for us. Less is more,
absolutely.
simplicity.
I think, what do they say? If you can't cross-utilize a product 7 times in 7 different entrees, then you shouldn't use it.
Most of the time.
I mean, it's so hard because you want to say yes to everything, but if someone wants you to bring in this just for them, and it's like, look, I can't put this ginger in anything else. I don't
Yeah.
have. There's nothing else. So now I'm just buying ginger just for this one thing. It doesn't make sense.
Well, we just talked to Ted from Wheat and Water
Yeah.
about La Pizza, like our favorite pizza.
I don't
He
want
had
to talk
take-
about
he had-
that.
He had to take it off the menu because it took too long. The prep items just took too long, and it was the only item that they used it in.
And he learned trial and error to
Yeah.
find it.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I've got my smoker. I have a Southern Pride rotisserie smoker. And I was trying to figure out, I think 28 years ago, at a trade show in Las Vegas, and I rented a pickup truck and I dragged it home, and it's just been bulletproof. I just love her.
Right.
And then I had Wiley McRae come out from North Carolina, and he came and taught me how to really slow smoke. I
Sure.
had no idea what I was doing. So that's when I started changing my menus. That's when the pulled pork came in, and that's when the brisket came in, and that's so easy.
So yeah,
it's really
that's important too. The advantages of slow smoking, like we do on our Old Hickory Pit, is we can do it at the restaurant, cook it overnight, and then based off of the time of the catering, we can actually deliver it, slice it on site. When you're doing grilling, which is a great way to get in, it's great because you have the fire, live fire, and that's something that a lot of people request from us is, oh, are you going to bring the smoker on site? Like, no, we're not bringing the Old Hickory on site. We're actually going to, slow smoke it and then bring it. Why was it advantageous for you to get into the smoking game?
Well, because I can do it ahead.
Yeah.
That I do
Less time on site.
I do 8-piece chicken. I put it in. I get it to temperature. I leave it in there 3.5 hours. I pull it out. I chill it. I take it out. I put it on a live fire grill and retherm it, and there it goes.
Right.
And the flavor is great.
Right.
And I can do brisket. I can do 1,000 pounds and freeze it, and it's bulletproof. It just really is amazing.
Right.
So I got in it because as I grew and was doing 15 events a day, I had to be able to prep well in advance to get my proteins early done. Because you know how long it takes to make salads and do all that stuff.
Oh, yeah.
And you can't do those days in advance.
Right.
No.
But I've got it down where I can get my proteins locked and loaded and then retherm, and out they go. And it's delicious. It's easy. There's something spiritual about smoking and putting the food in and just watching it transform.
Sure.
It's a time commitment. I just love it. That's why MBBQ is so important to me.
Yeah.
The camaraderie around barbecue, and I sell that to my clients.
Mm-hmm.
I tell them I'm out there putting this hickory and this California oak in here, and this is what's going to happen. I mean, they don't know I push a button and walk away,
Right.
come
Yeah.
back, 12 hours later,
But
they might listen. Don't,
Right. No, I mean, it's the same thing we do. I mean, I've told this story before, but when me and my dad first started smoking here together, we built a ton of smokers, offset smokers that, we had to tend to the fire all the time and flute them and get them going and making sure that it was just perfect. And to be honest, if I were to do a competition, that's what I would do again. But the volume that I'm doing now, there's no way I can do it. I can't do that style smoking and create the volume. So Sean had the Old Hickory smokers, which is just similar to the what you have. And he's like, I first tried the COM 200 Traeger, which is a toe behind big Traeger
Right.
pellet smoker, and which was great for the first couple uses. It just wasn't a true commercial thing, and I mean, we run it all the time, and it just wasn't ready for what we needed to. The rods would break, augers would mess up. So, and I couldn't be out of tri-tip for 4 days while they send me a new auger, So, talking to Sean and crying to him about it, he's like, look, go to Old Hickory and get this smoker. Call them up. Luke was great. Everyone was great. Send it over. And everything that, if anything ever breaks, which I've had mine for 3 years now, 4 years, nothing's ever broke. It's been great. But you can get everything at Grainger. And it's just, I'm not down. I can just go run and get the part and fix it, because they don't want you down at all. They want you, to be smoking all the time. But it is that thing where we cook it and we push a button and we set it to the temperature and it goes. And yeah, we're using real wood, but it also has a cook and hold feature so that when it's done and it gets to the time that we want it to go, it goes down to 160 degrees and holds it at that temperature until we come and pull it off. And to do the volume that we do, you have to be able to do something like that. And yeah, maybe it might not be, exactly what I'll do for competition. But I'll tell you this right now, my consumer, they don't want competition style brisket. If I were to feed them competition style brisket, I don't think they would like it nearly as much as what we do right now. It's just different. Feeding the masses is different than feeding someone like a one bite, one perfect little thing. It's just completely different. It's a completely different animal. So I'm stoked where we're at. But like you said, they don't know that you click, you push that button. But look, we had to do a lot of research to figure out how to do this and how to do it right. And sometimes that button clicked is the way to go.
It's the only way to get any sleep.
Yeah.
I have Traegers in my backyard. And
right.
Same thing there. You got to make sure you're feeding them those pellets.
Right. And feeding them pellets. And then, like I said, the augers and the heating element on them. Again, we talked with Chad Ward, and I know he wants to come and sit down and go over like what they can do to make it better, and I commend them for that. But it just wasn't ready for the use that we were.
You beat them up.
Yeah,
you really beat them up.
Yeah, we were.
I tell you, my Southern Pride's been up and down the freeway a zillion times, and it just keeps on going.
Right.
She's never broken. I've only lost one cook, and it was because I pushed the wrong button.
Right.
And that was a horrible day in my life.
Right. Isn't it
horrible?
We talk about it because we fucked up a lot of stuff on Thanksgivings for people, and we laugh about it. But it's like, man, there's
turkeys.
There's nothing worse than that feeling that you get when you totally fuck someone's like day up, and you're like, man, it really gets you right in the gut. You just feel so bad. It's like they were looking forward to this. They're salivating. They wanted this stuff, and it's like you got to tell them, we don't got it. We fucked up. We messed up. We're sorry. This is 200 person whatever, and you got to figure out a way to fix it. But guess what? I can't snap my fingers and say that we have 16 hours to make another brisket. It's just not going to happen right now. So, figuring out how to backpedal and get out of it is hard sometimes. But, there's nothing worse than letting someone down that's waiting for your food.
You got to know where your Spartan finals are, because you've got to go buy their marinated tri-tip and throw it on when you like that.
Or your Valley Farm, because we have our marinated tri-tips all the time.
I know.
Do you have any stories of things that went wrong?
I have so many stories.
So many. How do you think I stayed in business?
I have the 5% rule. 95% of what we do is flawless. 5% absolutely sucks.
Right.
Of the 5%, 3% we troubleshoot behind the scenes. It gets done. 2% the client knows about.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm very upfront with them when I know I've got that 2% that I've got to declare.
Yeah.
But it's usually food issues. It's usually clown issues or something
Right.
else that really happens. I just think that my story that sticks out in my head, it was Southern California Edison, late 80s, up in Live Oak Park, up north in North County. And she told me she was going to have 1,000 people, and we were ready. And she had about 2,500 people show up.
Oh.
And they have a Vons there. I don't think it was Vons then. Bought every hot dog in that store, bought every bun in that store. The general manager of that store should have gotten a medal. Everybody was running stuff out, throwing bottles of ketchup in my car.
Right.
And I charged them so much money.
Yeah.
I just, man, when it was over, she
Right.
was very grateful. Had their business for a long time until San Onofre.
It happens.
Ceased to, yeah.
It happens.
That's the
that's
the
how
biggest problem.
That's how you make a catering business. Our one of the first caterings we did was actually for Shane Walton. He has a Notre Dame. He had a Shane Walton Foundation. So he had a golf tournament. He had 100 people come out to this golf tournament. We're like, yeah, we're going to do our ribs, and we're going to do brisket, and we're going to, have wedding beans. We put on this incredible spread. These guys have been golfing all day long. There's athletes that have played in the NFL, and they're all waiting. We didn't have anyone serving the ribs.
Oh.
So they were taking half racks.
7
racks.
minutes, 8 minutes? How long did you
28
last?
golfers out of 100 got fed.
Yeah.
And I had to go jump on the sword, and thankfully Shane still is my friend, but
Yeah.
it was pretty embarrassing.
Yeah, it's good if you're going to have a bad embarrassment.
If you're going to
that
have
the guy's your
proteins, if you're going to have proteins on your catering line, make sure that you have somebody staffed there.
Or even if you don't, it's okay, but you have to let the person know. So we're doing a wedding coming up, and she's like, I really just wanted to kind of be, they serve themselves. It's kind of a rustic thing. I'm like, great. Just so you know, your price is going to go up a lot, like double what you're. And she's like, well, why? And I explained to her, I'm like, look, I'm a gluttonous fuck. So if I'm going through that line, I'm scooping a huge plate full of all this delicious food. And a lot of people aren't going to eat it. So a lot of it's going to get wasted. We know the portions that we're going to serve to people. So the first people can get, their servings. And then she finally came around where she's like, okay, yeah, I mean, I totally understand. I'm like, look, we can just serve them real quick and it will still be a rustic feel and all that. But, you know, you're going to pay double the amount if you want to just have it just out and everyone does it themselves. It just doesn't make sense for us.
What are your plans for the future?
Well, I really want to be on a barbecue team.
Mm-hmm.
I also have a mobile kitchen that's sitting there that's empty, and I don't know what to do with it. And then I thought, I'm going to turn it into some kind of cool rig. And so I want to do that. And I just want to get better at my craft.
Mm-hmm.
And it's good for my clients when I get better at this.
No, absolutely.
So I want to continue to learn, continue to play, meet cool people like you.
Sure.
Figure out what we're doing. I'm 61. I don't see any retirement ever.
Right.
You know, there's food. I love food. Love to cook. Love to cook at home. Sample, taste.
Well, you have it in your blood. I mean, you can't be in this business unless you love the thrill of the rush. I mean, it's talking to the client. It's getting ready. We work when everyone plays. I mean, there's a reason we want to go and put on a barbecue festival and shut down the village and have 30 amateur barbecue teams competing for Spring Valley, and then have 30 judges and have barbecue restaurants and live band. Like, why would we do that on an NFL Sunday when we've got plenty of other stuff going on? We love doing it.
So make sure you raise your boys in your business, because they'll grow up to have great work ethic and understand that. All three of my kids are raised in this business, and they're good at it. They all since. Well, actually, one son came back to work for me today. So we had a 3-year rule. You got to leave for 3 years, work for somebody else, figure out what good employers we are. You come back with a different attitude, we might rehire you.
That's actually funny. We were talking about that. I was talking to my wife and just saying things like, if my kids want to come into the business, they're more than welcome to. I want them to be able to pave their own path. I'm very, very hypersensitive to, I don't want my kids to have to feel like they have to live up to what I've done. I was fortunate to play in the NFL, do things. I don't want them to feel like they have to follow dad. I want them to create their own path. If that path so happens that they want to come in and do the store, well, we'll work on it. But I'm the same way. They have to go work in another grocery store for 2 years. Yeah. They cannot just come into the store and be entitled, which I don't think they will. I have great kids and a great wife. But they're going to go work somewhere else for a few years just to understand what goes on in other places. Then be able to come back and say, okay, I'm ready to do this.
Well, I just had this morning my first child get rehired.
Yeah.
That's coming back in.
Did you hire him?
No, he had to go to the HR department, go through the paperwork, and
there you go.
Go talk to no.
What's his title?
He doesn't get one for 3 months.
Okay.
He's going to come in and start in the warehouse. And
how old?
He just turned 30 last week.
Cool.
So he's been working for a rental company. He knows equipment really well. He's logistically brilliant. And so eventually he'll end up on the logistics side.
Why is logistics important in catering?
It's everything,
right?
And whether it's it's the logistics of cooking, the logistics of packing. I did a study one time and figured that I've sent 10,000 individual items out for a party of 300 people. So those 10,000 items have to get there. I've got a warehouse and a fleet of trucks and 4 guys that work 100% of their time in the warehouse just loading. And it's systemized, and we've got software that supports it. We know what we're supposed to be doing. Mm-hmm. But no matter what, that 5% rule is going to play into it. You also asked what else would I like to do, and this is not a personal plug, but it's a sharing of knowledge. I've been consulting for catering companies.
Cool.
Through Certified Catering Consultants. A group of us came together and said, we've been doing this 1,000 years between all of us. How are we going to help people?
Right.
So I have incredible clients, some that are just starting from, hey, I need to build a kitchen, to those that have been in business 15 years and are stalled. A lot of clients with people problems.
Right.
How do you hire them, train them, keep them from,
This is probably a question you probably hate to people to ask, but if you were going to give someone, advice, like 5 tips, what would they be?
In relation to people or in total?
In total, and just in business, the catering business itself. If someone wants to do catering, you can say, okay, I want you to work on 5 things. And obviously, I think, it'd be, community outreach and, but what would the...
Okay, well, I think that the first thing, keep in mind, after decades of doing this, if you're going to build a business, you've got to make sure you've got the money and the cash flow to be able to take the time to make the mistakes.
Yeah, your float, absolutely.
You got to have the float. because you're going to make mistakes and they get costly. And people crash your trucks and stuff, So you're always
And you don't have adequate insurance.
Yeah, no, I do, but you still crash my truck. So I think you got to have a business plan. The next thing is that don't work with family unless you're sure that everybody's on the same page. And I don't mean that to make a negative. That there are a lot of barbecue people in this industry that do work with family, but make sure that it's really important if you're going to have a business with family, you really have a delineation of responsibilities. So you can stay married and stay happy around that Thanksgiving table. The third thing would be to decide if you're going to inventory and own all your equipment or if you're going to subcontract your equipment. And I think that starting out, people should subcontract everything for a period of time and buy the most important pieces that they need to have and then, slowly add it. I have actually gone the other direction and have gotten rid of a lot of equipment that took a great deal of maintenance.
Yeah.
So it's kind of a reversal for me. The fourth thing that I would say is understand how you want your ethics and your morals to fit into your business. What do you believe? How do you believe people need to be treated? And I'm talking about employees. I'm talking about your purveyors. I'm talking about the guy that puts propane in the, propane tanks. How do you want people to treat everybody? And I'm tough and pretty ruthless sometimes. So I learned the hard way. I was expecting everybody to be as compassionate and passionate about what we do and care as much as we do. So I think new business owners need to realize that employees are not going to feel that way.
Yeah. So
you have to tap into what's important to them. And it's a job. Everybody works for money. When I realized how to make people happy at a job, I've had people with me that have been with me over 25 years. Right. They stay. And I have 100-something people working for me right now. So are we perfect? No. The last thing I would say is always plan for the time you want to get out. Don't burn out, get out. Figure out how to take it apart and plan. And now that's so funny because I never even thought about it until I was 55. And then I had to spend a lot of time trying to figure out how to make those next transition steps. So I don't believe that number 5 I would throw away because I don't think that's true. I'm going to make a new number 5.
Okay.
I would invest in very good catering software. I would find software that is on the market that will run your business from top to bottom.
What do you use?
I use a product called Fusion.
Fusion?
Yeah. And we've
put
had
the link in the show notes
for 22 years. We were a beta site actually. And it's everything from customer management all the way through the final billing, every single report, load boards, kitchen sheets. Earlier you asked me about quantities and things. All of that is calculated in an algorithm. Comes right out of that software.
Does it have menu engineering for recipes?
It has menu engineering. It takes it down to how much kosher salt you've got to use. So I think that
a handful.
Yeah, a pinch.
Gene.
That's literally how my dad, God bless him, I love him to death. And my dad's like the nicest
guy. A pinch.
But
a pinch.
Put two handfuls of pepper and 2 handfuls of salt. I'm like, Dad, your hand is a lot bigger than his hand. So these recipes aren't really like, let's measure that out and get it down to a science. He's like, you know what, son, that sounds like a good idea. Okay, great, let's do it.
You're lucky he was open to it.
Oh, yeah. I honestly, I'm very, very fortunate to have the dad I have because he allowed me to be who I am. And he knew that my best way of learning is experiences. So he never wanted to take those away from me. So he wanted to say, sometimes when I'd come up with an idea, he'd be like, even though he had done it before, and failed, he'd be like, okay, son, go for it.
What's your dad's name?
Don Marceau, yeah. He's a saint. He is.
My dad, George Taylor, is the one that taught me how to grill.
Yeah.
I was 11, and he would have these beautiful ribeyes, and he'd say, okay, here you go. And there were 6 of us in the family. And
he gave you ribeyes to cook at 11?
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
But
that's a lot of trust.
Everything was on time. 7 minutes flip, 5 minutes off. He never tempted anything. He taught me how to touch stuff.
Sure.
And now you get in the catering business, you can't be poking your food unless you have a glove on. And
right.
It's so I'd start to reach no, I cannot poke that woman's steak.
Right.
So that's a little bit different. But This industry is brutal, ruthless, and so rewarding. It's to make a life out of doing what the three of us do and everybody else in this barbecue world. It's just such a joy. I'm so incredibly blessed.
Yeah.
Really.
It's incredible when you think about the impact that you've had. I mean, you have this infographic that we'll put in the show notes, but I mean, this was 4 years ago when you were celebrating your 30th, and you said after 30 years of fun in the sun, we've served over 1 million kids, 100,000 pounds of tri-tip you've cooked, you've served over 1 million plates of barbecue food, grilled over $1.5 million hot dogs. I mean, 1.5 million hot dogs. I mean, that's incredible, the amount of lives that you've touched. And they come to you, picnic people, they come to you because that's a special time for them, and that's the memorable time. And all the logistics that we didn't talk about of the setups and the breakdowns and the easy ups and the trash can, all that matters is that when people look back on that company picnic, they look back with a smile and they realize, like, I remember when I won Employee of the Month and I was recognized on Mission Bay, and Picnic People, they were there and they did just an incredible job with my kids and my family. That's important because now you're helping that company with their company culture.
That touches my soul. That's why I do what I do.
Right. Well, we can't thank you enough for taking the time to come out and talk to us. I know you're probably very busy with what you got going on. I mean, it's an honor to talk to you and hear your stories, because Sean and I are, we're at the beginning of stages. He's 10 years and I've been in this business for 11 years, but we're 62 years old for the store, but we're just kind of starting our wave that we're going to keep going. And talking to people like you really helps us understand what we can do and who we can touch. And when you said it touches your soul, it's funny. I was getting to talk to my buddy, and he's like, man, I just, how do you do what you do, Derek? It's just wild. Like, you're always going, you're always in you just go. And I realized that I'm not driven by the monetary values and gains. I'm truly moved by the feelings I get from helping people. And if I can continue to do that, when I lose that, I'm going to switch what I'm doing. But if I can continue to do this and continue to touch people and make people happy.
And continue to figure out how to make money.
Yeah.
Because this is, I do what I do and love it.
Right.
But I get paid for it. And I'm worth it. Right. I work hard for people.
Yeah.
So
I'm
not a charity.
I also want to thank you for your burning desire to continue your education. It's something that my grandfather taught me. It's something that's why we do this podcast, is that we can help give back to the barbecue community, to people that own small businesses, even if they're not in the food business or hospitality business. And for us, meeting you at NBBQA, and then I'm sure we'll see you for IMBBQ 2019 in Kansas City in April.
Looking forward to it. I'm so proud of you two. This is great what you're doing.
Thank you very much.
It's really wonderful. And you're so much fun.
We try to be.
I think your audience should really see where we are above this incredible grocery store.
How can people get in touch with you? At Picnic People's the social handle, but
Lisa R. at picnicpeoplesandiego.com.
Cool.
You can email me,
Perfect.
Call me. I didn't get to answer all those questions about serving portions and stuff, so just call me.
Perfect.
Okay.
Well, you're in the consulting game, and obviously we're going to always look to you as a resource.
I'll even answer questions for free.
Ooh, we like that. We like free.
Yeah, I do.
And we do want to give our social shout out every week. If you're following the show, interacting with the show, hashtagging Behind the Smoke. Francie Bakes and Q. Texas girl in Denver. She's a Traeger girl, and she's been tagging us. So thank you. You got a new Behind the Smoke mug.
And they're lovely.
Coming your way. You have one.
This is the nicest thing.
Thank you. Thank you for coming on. And Picnic People, we can't wait to see what you do next. Lisa, thank you for your time.
Sean, Derek. Thank you.
Happy weekend.
Hey guys, this is Sean and Derek, and we just really want to thank you for listening to the podcast. It means the world to us. We'd like you to go check out BehindTheSmokeMedia.com. That's our website where we have barbecue resources for you to help build your barbecue business. We also have events listed, so anything that's happening in the West Coast barbecue movement, anything that's going on We want you to go check that out so you can learn more and get involved. We also have show notes from all the episodes. So anything we talked about in the episodes, you can find detailed show notes there. Plus, you can just get in touch with us. It's important that we're here as a resource for you. So please reach out. Let us know how Derek and I can help you with your barbecue journey. Get involved, stay curious, and follow us on social at Barbecue War Stories. We'll talk to you soon.